Hi and greeting to you all. Today we will present the Part 1. Environmental Auditing, the History and Types of Environmental Auditing. This is the content for environmental auditing. The first content is, what is environmental auditing? The second is, history of environmental auditing. Next is types of environmental auditing. The last content is, what is ISI 14001? So, next slide is, introduction about, what is environmental auditing? Okay, the environmental auditing is in place to monitor and regulate an organization impact on the environmental, investigating, understanding, and identifying. It also International Chamber of Commerce as the systematic examination of the interactions between any business, operations and surroundings. Then, the systematic, independent and documented process for obtaining audit evidence and evaluating it objectively to determine the extent to which the audit criteria are fulfilled. So, the next slide is present about the history of the environmental auditing. History is 1970 year. It enable managers to check compliance with the management local environmental laws and regulations. The next is national environmental laws and the manager can incorporate the policies. Environment auditing only became widely accepted by the industry in the late 1980 years as a common management tool in developed countries and is increasingly being applied in developing countries by both foreign and local industry. It also increased awareness of environmental issues politically leading to the organization of professionals auditing teams to discuss environmental auditing. By the 1986 years the EPA has published a formal policy report regarding the environmental auditing. This can be seen as a call to all other firms to follow safe environmental practices. The particular focus on this initial report being that environmental auditing would help health and safety around the workplace. In the last 1990 years, saw the development of legislation regarding environmental concerns. Furthermore, it is because companies began to introduce more sophisticated environmental auditing systems. For the next content is types of environmental auditing. There have 6 main types of environmental auditing. The first type is environmental compliance audits. Second type is environmental management audits. The third type is functional environmental audits. The next type is issues audit.
Next is site audit.
The last type is product or life cycle audit. The first type environmental auditing is environmental compliance audits. It is evaluate the company environment performance and responsibility practices. Consists of environmental law and company policy. It also determine compliance to specific and defined checklists. These compliance commitments be found in various regulatory approval such as environmental permits. The second environmental management audits. The company has met the environmental objectives, policies and performance set by management. Analysis and evaluation of the efficiency and capability of. The next types is functional environmental audits. It focuses on one element or impact of a particular activity, such as the water waste management audits, materials and air quality monitoring. Add the more type is issues audit, an evaluation of how a company activity relates to the specific environmental issues such as the global pollution or energy use. It also inadequate internal control, inadequate controls over finances reporting and inadequate accounting procedures. Next, the site audits is an audit of a particular site to potential environmental problems. It also a process for evaluation the search engine friendliness of a website in multiple areas. The last types is product or life cycle audit, an analysis of environmental impacts of a product throughout all stages of its design, production, use and disposal include the reuse and recycling. Put another way, product life cycle management means managing everything involved with a product from cradle to grave. The next slide is what is ISO 14001. ISO 14001 is internationally agreed standard that sets out the requirements for an environmental management system. An ISO 14001 audit is an implementation of the ISO 14001 Environmental Management Systems (EMS). It is systematic, independent, objective and documented process to gather facts to identify areas for improvement and ensure you have a best practice process in place. The ISO 14001, 2015. The main aim of the ISO 14001 is to ensure organization or companies to minimize harmful effects on the environmental caused by its activity, to conform to applicable regulatory requirements, and to achieve continual improvements of its environmental performance. Now, we won't continue to our Q&A questions. Quiz 1. Just answer your questions with choose true or false. The first question is: 3 types of environmental compliance audits, issues audits, and site audits. Yeah, the answer is true. The next question is quiz 2. True or false? ISO 14001 to 2005 is part of environmental auditing. Yes, the answer is false.
In the summary for this part 1 is:
environmental auditing is used for investigating, understanding, and identifying. The history is have 1970 year, 1980 years, and 1990 years. There have 6 types of environmental audits, and the ISO 14001, 2015 for it. So, that all for my part 1 present. I will to be continue past to part 2. The part 2 will present about the scope, normative reference, terms and definitions and principles. That all for it. Thank you.